Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Kirk Kaplan, one of the senior programmers for the festival. And you guys have bought a ticket and shown up for, not easy to say, but it's probably the most controversial film we've ever played at this festival, so congratulations. She Who Must Burn is something it's really special. It's a very different type of film. It's not afraid to take a position and not be completely unbiased. It's the director's vision. He does not flinch from it, and it will be in your face the entire time the film plays. So, nice light way to start the afternoon. I'm going to start off with in going through a bit of our sponsors. So we need to thank Anchor Bay Canada, Fangoria Magazine, and the awesome Suspect Video. And our community partner for this screening is actually shocktillyoudrop.com. You can applaud for that. I should point out that the editor-in-chief of Shock Till You Drop is the former editor-in-chief of Fangoria, Chris Alexander. Chris actually provided some of the music for this. And at the Horrorama convention in Toronto last month, which Chris also co-presents, when we told him that we were going to be playing this film, he instantaneously turned into a 5-year-old girl. With this big giddy look on his face, and just absolutely had to do the Q&A for this film. So we're going to have a special treat. He will be doing the Q&A after the film with Larry and his cast. So stick around for that. Before She Who Must Burn, we have a equally intense short called Crazy Love. And I have the producer, Helena, here, so Helena, come on down and say a congratulations short.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for coming. I am the writer, producer, and I am in Crazy Love. I don't want to talk too much about it because I think, it's pretty self-explanatory when you watch it. But Crazy Love is a short film that we did about a year and a half ago now. And it's about something controversial, I guess you could say. Yeah, a little thing called spousal abuse. So it's fun, have fun. Thanks, guys.
Again, please, hold on one second. If any of you guys have been here before for our festival, you know that we hand out these pins, we call the bloodies. They are only handed out to people that have made films that have played in this festival, so that is yours. Yeah. There are only a handful of people that do have that pin.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Chris Alexander, and I'm very, very proud and pleased, in that order, to be able to stand up here with you and present to you Maestro Larry Kent's new movie, She Who Must Burn. So can we please put our hands together for that feel-good movie of the century? Mr. Larry Kent, who, yes, please, the founding father of the Canadian independent film, really,
Any extra wants to come up. Hey, any one of you guys want to come up? Come on. I need help.
Yeah, we have many of the cast here, don't we?
Yeah, come on.
Come on up here and support the man. You want to introduce your crew as they come here?
Yeah. Shane Tweedham.
Fordoon.
And Alex Moxham and Andrew Dunbar. Come up. Where are you? We lost you.
Maybe he walked out on his own movie. Well, listen, my personal relationship with Larry goes back a few years. We were about 9 years ago. I thought it was 7 or 8 years ago. For a couple of years.
8 years old.
Yeah, we were 8 years old. I think I got you drew the short end of the stick, I think. But we taught together at the Toronto Film College. I was teaching film history. I was there for a little bit. And then suddenly, I was told that a new directing teacher was going to come in. Oh, here we go. Andrew Dunbar came back. So I was told that a new directing teacher was coming in. It was this guy, Larry Kent. And I looked him up like, holy shit, Larry, go look at all these movies you did. Holy shit. This guy walks in, he's like, what gives you the fucking right to be a fucking film history teacher? And he didn't mean it to be an asshole. He was actually just curious as to why
I could be.
Right. So initially, I liked this guy. I thought he was interesting, and through a couple of years, we'd have lunch together. We'd have these great screaming debates. We'd spend a lot of time together talking about movies, and it was a couple of the greatest years of my life. That's the truth. So around that time, you made a movie called The Hamster Cage, which was your last film, which was a pretty fucked up movie, Larry Kent.
How was the last film?
I missed this. I missed Exley, of course, yes. But at that point, The Hamster Cage was your last film when we had met.
Yeah.
It was, and it won a few awards, and it was sort of a horror film. However, compared to this, it's The Sound of Music. And I know at that point you were saying, I'm gonna make a horror film next. It's gonna be a horror. But in between there was Exley. But now we get this, which is your darkest movie, and I've seen all your movies. This is about as bleak as it gets, Larry. Why, and yeah, I'm not going to say it's the twilight of your life, but after making all these movies, spending 50 years in the Canadian underground cinema, making movies, why did you decide to kind of, the 11th hour, make this like, gutter punch of a film?
Gutter punch?
Sucker punch.
Stomach. I don't know. It seemed like a good idea at the time. Yeah.
Okay, it's a horror movie. Would you even call this a horror movie? Because I remember at the time you're like, I'm going to make a horror movie. Do you think it's a horror movie?
First of all, I want to say what happened two days ago in Colorado. So it's not a horror movie. It's a documentary, right? Somebody said it was prescient. It's obvious what was happening just grabbed me absolutely. I said, how could these people continue and continue? And if you or anybody here has a right to life, too bad.
So that answers my question to some degree. But that's Larry Kent, too fucking bad indeed. And that's what that movie that's my takeaway from it, is that you're angry, Larry. You got something to say. Are you angry? Is it an angry movie? Are you personally angry?
No, I mean, you make films from where it comes, You are influenced by the world around you. And this film is influenced by the world around me. So I hope you liked it. I think you got to ask them that question.
Well, we'll keep moving on, but sure, we can turn it over to the audience. We got a guy in the back. Yes, man.
All right, first of all, that song will never be the same for me. I thank you for that. And secondly, I just want to know, at what point did you decide the wrath of God was going to come in and even the scale?
Yeah, now is it the wrath of God? Because it's sort of, it seems to be a slam against religion. And then at the end, suddenly, the wrath of God does come in, a la Carrie or something. But talk about that ending.
That's not the wrath of God. It's just a storm. Come on.
A very selective storm.
Yeah, I needed to end the movie not on that I had two choices. We burn her and everybody has a party, or we have a storm. Whichever you like.
And at what point did you decide that
Hello.
it's going to be a little easier
Go ahead.
this summer?
Say it again?
At what point, though, at the beginning of the story, you said, okay, I'm gonna even it out at the end, or did you go halfway through your story and decide, you know what, I gotta soften up a bit? No,
it was always in the story. I got my co-writer, Yao, and he did a little bit of bad acting, but okay. But I think we always wrote it, and the storm was always there.
Shane, did you guys write this together, or did Larry come up with it? I remember the early stages of it was radically different. So at what point did you come in and talk about that process working with this cantankerous bastard?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, Larry, easy. That's basically like that for 9 months. That's what it was like to write with Larry. So it was about a 9-month process. Larry had a very clear idea that the story had changed a lot from when he first pitched it, which was the first time we were in Fantasia together, like years ago. And then I think just by doing some research into the story, we started to see all this terrible stuff that was going on, and it influenced us. And Larry's always been very outspoken about, you know, women's rights to choose and everything like that. Something that I believe in as well. And Larry had a very, very clear idea of the story when I came on. So I was writing in Vancouver, Larry's in Montreal, and basically it was a phone call every day for almost a year, anywhere between an hour and 4 hours long, where we would.
But then you ran away often.
I tried to go across the country, but he still got me. So, yeah.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had this extremely talented cast, of course.
Yeah, so give it up for the cast, though, really, honestly. Again, not an easy movie to watch, and certainly probably, I presume, not a jovial set, was it? I mean,
no, it wasn't bad. And I was in Montreal, where I live, and we had Andrew trying to get this film started, trying to put it together. And so Andrew did some producing as well as acting. You just acted, didn't you, Mox?
I think I drove a couple of meals
You-
around.
drove a couple meals around, yeah.
You drove us crazy.
And I drove you crazy.
Yeah.
Well, talk about that.
We had the sheriff who was
Yes.
fantastic. We really appreciated you.
Maybe we can talk about that for a second. It's an interesting character because he's so apathetic towards the end. It's a very curious reaction to the scenario, how he just kind of hides out in the background and doesn't do anything at all. I mean, can talk about this sheriff character. Is he a hero, villain? Is he nothing? Is he just...
No, he's the ultimate us, the guy who compromises and who understands that you've got to make a living. So, okay, you know, he ain't gonna... Why didn't you pull your gun and shoot him?
No, you're right. He's stuck in its politics. Right? In a little town. Well, you know.
He's a good
like he
guy
says,
to
look,
everybody.
well, he's too old to get another job.
Yeah, and he's got to get voted in again, right?
Yeah.
Well, at least he does at the end. It's kind of a happy movie for you, for this character, because he doesn't have to do fuck all at the end. There's no, everyone's dead. He just walks away and says, it had nothing to do with it. It wasn't me. I didn't do it. Yeah, that was it. You know, Larry, toiling in the Canadian film industry for a long, long time and having many conversations with you, not all of them pleasant, about you really rolling up your sleeves and fighting. You are ultimately, I mean, I think Canada's premier maverick, you know, in many respects.
Have I ever seen a Larry Kent movie?
Has anyone actually seen a Larry Kent movie in this room? Yeah, but it's very few and far between. And Larry has been...
Toronto has not seen my movies, okay? If you live in Toronto, it's very unlikely that you've seen a Larry Kent movie. How many, again, can you put up your hand? 1, 2, 3.
And the guy in the back's just...
He's just lying. He's just trying to be nice.
Five people.
But Larry's been making movies since 1962. At least Bitter Ash was 62. Yeah.
Bitter Ash is 63. Hastings Street, which the gentleman made.
Right.
He made the feature of. I made the short, and he came back to make White Raven.
Which is screening White Raven's next, right? Yeah. Okay. So getting this movie off the ground, I know you had a little bit of trouble finding post-production money, and it was a bit of an uphill climb. Can you talk a little bit about rounding up the dough and getting this thing made?
That's totally boring to the audience. That it was made is the most important thing. Funding for independent.
This is not boring because this is actually when Larry starts to get really angry, and it's a lot of fun. So let's go.
No, obviously I'm very angry at the funding bodies who always tend to say, well, you've made movies, fuck off, you know, so you just have to keep making movies without money. So next time you see me go and ask for some money, come on guys, throw in a buck, you know, quit it. Okay, that's it.
That's it. That's the short version, Larry, you coward.
Sheriff right there.
At the age of 82, don't be diplomatic, please. Just let it go. Yeah, man.
I've noticed talking to some filmmakers, some of them tend to shy away from topics like school shootings, abortion, things like that, but you go straight for the throat with this. Do you think filmmakers owe it to the audience to just tackle this stuff head on?
No, I mean, what I do is what I do. I mean, everybody I hope, if you're an independent filmmaker, then you better make a film that you want to make, because it's so difficult to make a film. If you're making somebody else's film or you want to be sweet and light, then that's okay if that's what you want to do. But you should make the film you want to make. Now, I can't tell anybody what film to make. I'd like to, but I can't.
Any other questions for Larry or the team up here? No? Yeah, right there, man.
The women in the movie are the really strong ones. Sadly, none could be here today.
I can't show you.
The women in the room are...
Can you please tell me about your casting process and about the actresses?
Yeah, but your female cast, which unfortunately none of them are here, but talk about casting those dynamic women.
There wasn't any casting. Everybody is somebody we knew. For instance, the lead is related to Mr.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's my girlfriend.
And his future baby. The baby's on the way, so
Uh-oh.
we have to congratulate him for having a baby after making this film. Yeah, is another filmmaker. He can tell you, why do you make your films pretty dark too?
Yeah, I'm interested in, Larry, is that the level of gore in this movie too. I mean, I've seen all your movies, and they're not. Certainly, there's usually a sexual aspect about it. You were certainly Bitter Ash too. You broke boundaries in showing nudity on screen in any cinema, and using profanity. But I've never seen the level of, Is it because I was hanging out with you that this Fangorian level of gore suddenly crept into the end of this movie? Talk about actually going for it.
You're saying something that, in a way, was not in my head. What was in my head was that we have to say something that is certainly happening in the South in a terrible way, and in a way there's a kind of, especially in the West, there are feelings. Somebody wrote an article about it and said, hey, look, I've come from the West where I have experienced this kind of thing in BC. So it is not only the States, it's in Canada, but there is a reaction or reactive thing that is moving to not be open to different points of view. And I am not open to, obviously, the religious rights point of view. I'm not open to right to life, which is ironic, which is really a death kind of cult.
Absolutely. Any other questions for? Oh, yeah.
Have you received any significant reaction?
I'm sorry?
Yeah. Any blowback from this? Have you got
Received any significant reaction from the Christian right?
Yeah. Any negative reactions?
No, they wouldn't see this film. They wouldn't want to see it. No, we haven't. There's none. I doubt if they even know that it exists. No, we haven't received. I did receive one kind of blog that tended to be try to hide his point of view, but was talking, why haven't you shown, or why don't you show it to some Christian light? Well, there's no point. I'm not going to get them. I don't give a damn about them. So, I'm totally tolerant.
You're very diplomatic today, Larry. It's actually scaring me. Something's wrong. Body snatchers. Anyone else in the audience? Yeah, right over here.
Considering your viewpoints on the subject, I thought it was very interesting how much time we spend with the extreme religious people there. And I was wondering how it felt to kind of get in their heads, and also how it was to portray them.
Trying to find empathy in these guys, trying to find the humanity.
I wasn't trying to find any empathy. I was just trying to you want to say something?
Sure.
No. Okay. Go ahead.
Researching was tough, but playing it wasn't so tough. It was actually weirdly easy. How easy it is to come up with religious semantics to questions that are logical, and these characters. It's shocking on how easy it was to play these characters, or at least for me anyways. And
That character.
play the character, yeah, for me. But playing it, the set was actually pretty fun. It wasn't all doom and gloom.
No, the set wasn't doom and gloom.
No, it was good.
I want to know from.
I played a good guy, so I don't.
I
I
think
can sleep at night.
there are two people that have the good guys who had you and
The milk toast over here really.
the both of you have the toughest time.
Yeah, like Shane said, it's totally weird to play a bad guy, especially with your friends. You're like acting like bad guys and staring at your buddies, which is kind of weird. But once you get in there, and I mean that's where you want to go. You want to get into that dark, gritty, fucked up shit as an actor. That's where you want to be. It's fun. So.
Once you found the glasses, it was easier.
Yeah, I just did a lot of beard acting and glasses acting.
You see a lot of beard. You see a lot of beard acting. Is that what you said?
Yeah, a lot of beard
That's
acting.
It's definitely a beard performance.
I would like to ask Jim Francis. I would like to ask how are you justifying yourself? Because he justifies everything he does in the film.
Well,
You had the.
well, you convinced me because when we first started, we read the script and I was like, this doesn't make any sense to me because why would the sheriff put up with any of this? It's like we got to write extra scenes where we see but Larry quickly convinced me that he's just stuck right in the middle and it's political and there's nothing he can do about it. And he's trying to manage a bad situation, that's all.
So, but how did you put it inside? Did you find it difficult to find it inside of you?
No, once that clicked in, it was it made sense, just in this I think he's just crossing his fingers all the time that everything's going to work out okay, He's a real he's a loser, he's inactive. He's really a sad character. I wish I could relate to.
You got something to say, bud?
Larry, we've got to screen my movie now. So.
Yeah, we're running a little long here, but just before we pull the plug,
Another half hour, guys.
it's very rare that we'll get an audience with this man right here. So I just very quickly, Larry, when you were making this movie, you said, "This is my last movie." Well, obviously, it can never be your last movie. Are you working on something now?
Well, you've got to write script, and that takes a year at least to work out that it works well. Yes.
Yes. The answer is yes. So everybody, listen. Larry Kent, cast and crew. She who must burn.